Hello. Oh, I love climbing into the catbird seat here. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Lucas, and this is part three of my tribute to my friend Pierre Ruiz, who died very tragically last Sunday in Sardinia in a mountain climbing accident. And it's a big shock, but I thought to pay tribute to him because not only was he a really great guy, but he was a visionary record label impresario with his label Disco, which is an Italian word for, gee, I don't know. I need to be refreshed. Francesco Arpino, can you help me out here? Frank Amadeus? Anyway. He rolled a record with me and some fine Italian musicians 2 years ago, Christmas 2018, right before Christmas. And it was, for me, a dream realization of a project that I'd had in mind for many, many years, namely studio versions of all of the songs that I co-wrote with late, great Jeff Buckley. And most people who know my work with Jeff really just know Grace and Mojo Pin, which are the first two songs on Jeff's Grace album, which now is well over 2 million in sales and frequently appears on the 50 greatest albums of all time list. Yeah, which is something that's really staggering to me to this day, because all the time people are writing me, or I'll meet them and they say, oh really, you co-wrote those songs, they changed my life, blah blah. So I have all these other songs, 10 of which were not on that record, and 5 of them, of those 10, were added to, along with Grace and Mojo Pin, to a record that came out in 2002 called Songs to No One, which I've got right here, which is on the Knitting Factory Evolver label. And it was their biggest seller for a long time. I think it's pretty good. It was put together by my pal, the late, great Hal Wilner, who passed away very tragically of the virus early on. And he made the selection. But there were 5 that didn't make the cut for some reason or other. I don't know why. But I was sorry that went down that way, but I had no say in the matter, because I think these songs are as good as Grace and Mojo Pin. Anyway, they floated around on bootleg tapes, and actually a bootleg CD came to my attention, which I've tried to get taken down, but anyway. They were out there in shadowy forms in the world, but here the idea was to realize them with fresh interpretations. And so Pierre brought in a great Italian vocalist, the Nero, also known by his real name, Davide Combusti, and a great, great producer, multi-instrumentalist, Francesco Arpino, and then some other great musicians, including a well-known bass player from the UK, Phil Spalding, who worked with all sorts of people over his long career. And we assembled in Rome right before Christmas 2018 to work on this record. And I must say I was blown away with the results. And you should check them out, just as a testament and a living testimony to Pierre with his visionary genius at play here, because the record was received extremely well in the world, and especially in Italy, where it was voted the best album of 2019 in classic rock Italia. So for the last 2 episodes of my live streaming show, this must be 67, Tuesday and Thursday, I did various songs from that record instrumentally, because all of these songs I wrote with Jeff started as my solo guitar instrumentals. So I got a few more to do, and right away I'm going to pick up with a song called distortion. And a little background: when Jeff and I started to work together in really the spring of 1991, coinciding with a tribute to Tim Buckley, Jeff's father, at St. Anne's Church in Brooklyn, we realized pretty quickly that we had a winning formula where I would give him instrumentals and he would come with beautifully manicured and perfect parts vocally and lyrically to add to the instrumentals that fit the instrumentals like a glove, really. And so I was on tour, a very, very lengthy tour in the fall of '91. It started in the UK, then moved to the continent with shows in Belgium and Holland, and then I went to Germany, where I had a number of shows. But I had a residency over Christmas. This is the end of '91, and I was staying at a place, a beautiful loft in Kreuzberg that belonged to Monika Dering, who was one of the godmothers of the alternative music scene in Germany, certainly in Berlin. And Monika ran a fantastic venue called The Loft with her friend Irmgard Schmitz, who I learned also passed away last year very tragically. So Monika was going on a holiday and with her guy, and left me the run of her loft, not the club, but her living space, which was a huge loft, beautiful loft. And I was holed up there for a week, which culminated with 3 concerts in East Berlin at a great venue, I don't know if it still exists, called the Tacheles. Now, the wall had just come down pretty much in that year, and so in East Berlin it was a chance for foreign artists like myself to make appearances, because hitherto there were not a lot of musicians from the West who were able to play in East Germany. And this all changed with the wall coming down. So I did a 3-night residency in Berlin, but while I was staying at the Loft, I wrote a lot of music for this project with Jeff. Okay, so enough preamble, and I'll get right down to it here with Distortion. portion. And we did a really pretty good version of it on this record, which you should check out, that has this break in the middle. And live, it was always a treat to play because I could really go to town with the space guitar and effects-driven playing. And I think as a song, it's really one of the most rockin' Jeff Buckley songs out there. And this is a thing about the Gods and Monsters project with Jeff. I would say, if you look at the arc of his career, if you've heard all of these St. Anne's tapes and whatnot, you would have to conclude that this is probably a much more in-your-face rock Jeff Buckley, psychedelic rock, than anything that came after. I mean, certainly there's some moments on the Grace album, but you know, he balanced it out with going into these very tender ballads, which is great, and I love that stuff too. But anyway, the idea, as I saw it when we were working together, was to like push the envelope as much as possible within the framework of a, say, updated version of Led Zeppelin or the Doors or the Smiths. Those were the templates for Gods and Monsters with Jeff Buckley as we discussed it. So anyway, you have to hear this record because it's really great. Davide, the Nero, sings his butt off, and Francesco is one of the best producers I've ever worked with. I mean, as a hands-on, knob-twirling guy, he had a lot of great ideas with the sonics, and it's great for me to be able to work with people who come up on the fly, let's say, with great ideas, which he did. And okay, I think I want to move into a version of a song called Harem Man, which is a very bluesy, blues-rocking kind of slide guitar tour de force, but instead of doing a laborious retuning, I'm going to play it on National Steel guitar, so I'm going to go over here to get this thing. So let's see how this sounds with this. Not really the kind of boom that was meant for this, but I think you'll hear it anyway. and that has many different verses. There are a couple of versions we did live in St. Anne's, and also I think we played it at the Knitting Factory. And then there's demo versions. On Songs to No One, they took a version recorded right here. I was sitting in this chair with the electric. Jeff was over on the couch, which you can't really see at this angle, but it's right over in this direction. Not too far, about 6 feet from me. Same amp. A microphone, but it was Jeff's turn to sing. I wouldn't attempt to sing any of these songs that Jeff sang myself, but you go ahead. I mean, be my guest. Any of you singers out there, and I might even accompany you, really, if you're serious about it. I have a big tent philosophy about all these songs, and I think music is for making live. So hopefully when I get back in gear, gigging again, when will that be? I don't know. Can someone tell me, please? But I'd love to play any place near you. So just reach out to me. Also, anybody interested in lessons, I have to thank, I have like a couple of guitar students, and both of them recently engaged my services for some new lessons. Mark Green, thank you very much. He's a mainstay out there in the Midwest and a great guy. And Eric Levine, same. Eric is on Long Island, I believe, and Eric wants to learn the Largo, my arrangement of Dvorak's second movement from the Ninth Symphony, from the New World Symphony, which is known as Largo, also known as Going Home. It's been covered with lyrics by some jazz artists over the years. I put it on a record called Gary Lucas Plays Bohemian Classics, which came out on vinyl on Faust Records in the Czech Republic. Yes, my friend Richard Matter is a visionary producer himself. I worked on some great records with him, including one called The Ghosts of Prague, which you have to hear if you like that kind of what he calls my ghastly guitar. I like that. Those are his words. I would say haunted, my haunted guitar style. It depends on what mode you get me in. But anyway, so I'm available for lessons and for gigs when they come back, okay? As long as you just promise me you're going to like hand sanitize and mask up. And maybe we won't need that. But I have a feeling we are going to need that for a long time, because I don't think vaccines really take care of these issues, but I could be wrong. Maybe the virus will just disappear, like our fearless leader said a couple of times. Wouldn't that be nice? But I'm not holding my breath, and neither should you. So without further ado, I'll play another song for you. I mean, I'll go on the acoustic, Electrify. Here, let me put this back in its receptacle. All right. This one. Let's see. Yeah, this is for me the most problematic one that I wrote, and I love it. I think it's okay. I hope that wasn't too intrusive, but yeah. And someone, it's a lady who should know better than to call me right now. But be that as it may, this is called Malign Fiesta. Now, where did that come from? Well, if you know your Wyndham Lewis, Lulu is looking at me like she knows. Okay, Lulu is a Wyndham Lewis fan. I have Wyndham Lewis's festooning the walls of my apartment. I'm a big fan, actually, and a bibliophile and an art collector, among other things. And Lewis was someone I got very passionately engaged with, but it's very heady stuff, also subject to a lot of misinterpretation over the years. But anyway, he concluded his life with a magnificent trilogy with kind of quasi-religious themes, but speculative, I would say science fiction fantasy. that he called The Human Age. And the second book is called Malign Fiesta. Or is it the third book? Yeah, that is the third book. The first one is called The Childermass. Look up that word. I don't want to give too much away. The second one is called Monster Gay, with the French monstre, Monster Gay, and the third is Malign Fiesta. So the name of this thing is Malign Fiesta, which we then parenthesized No Soul. And it's Jeff's excoriation of a wannabe punk is basically what it is. He was very scornful of, poser punks, the kids who were like part-time punks, as television personalities sang most memorably in 1977. People who are just doing it for the fashion without really living the life, walking the walk and talking the talk. So, here we go. I'm going to do it, and we'll talk about it. how Jeff closed this song at the Knitting Factory. It's on Songs to No One, and there's a great version on the complete Jeff Buckley and Gary Lucas songbook on Ezra Disco. And I just want to say thank you to Pierre Ruiz. You're a beautiful man and a great visionary genius. Check out other Ezra Disco albums. He was a Zappa-phile. He loved Frank Zappa. I got him into Beefheart a little bit there too. But he was more on the Frank tip. Did a great album of music that Don Preston and Ruth Underwood had arranged for Frank, and it's great instrumental versions of those songs. So that's it. And please, mentioning of Beefheart, Lulu is very upset with me because I've taken her little bedding area here and using them for guitar stands now. Tuesday I'm going to begin, I think, another three-parter, which is a tribute to Don Van Vliet, Captain Beefheart, on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the release of Doc at the Radar Station, which marked my emergence on an international stage as a recording artist. I'm choked up with emotion here, or dust, I don't know what. But anyway, check it out Tuesday at 3, Thursday at 3, and Saturday at 3. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to have a coughing fit now. I love you guys. Hope to see you soon. See you on Tuesday.